And that's our fight song. We're fighting for all the entrepreneurs all over the country that have decided to take destiny in their hands and control their life, no longer under the domain and the thumb of an employer, of a government. They've decided to say, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to be successful. And with here to help us how to do that is Bruce Krebs of the Entrepreneur Source. This is the Entrepreneur Hour. How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you back, brother.
I just need this rain to
Let's
stop.
do this here. Give me some skin here, and we do this here, and we bump and things, and think to bump. Okay, I don't know.
A little fun today.
I don't know how to do all that.
Me neither.
You were in Florida, right?
I was in Florida. I was in Phoenix at our annual conference. Yeah. Just
or as
little trips.
Or as we white black boys say, Florida.
Yeah.
Right?
I hear you.
Did you catch anything?
We caught a lot. Caught a lot of fish.
What was your biggest catch?
31-inch redfish.
Okay, how big was it really? Come on.
12 pounds, 31 inches.
Was it really 31 ounces?
Yeah.
Actually, wow.
I got a picture of it. I'll show you.
Yeah, sure. What were you using for bait?
Live shrimp. Always live shrimp.
That's what works?
That's what works.
I can't catch anything.
Yeah.
I catch colds. Were you deep sea fishing?
No. We were fishing grassy flats in 3 to 4 feet of water.
That's more fun, isn't it?
It's more fun. Yeah. Spinning rods, just not that hauling a log, deep sea fishing stuff.
You're not barfing.
Yeah. Get bounced around out 50 miles. Nah, that's not for me at all.
What's cool about being able to do that? Because once in a while, Bruce will say, well, I'm not coming in today. I'm going fishing in Florida, or, I'm skydiving in Egypt, or when you're, but this, what's cool about that, because I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. Started my first business when I was 13. I worked for the corporate clones for many years, but still considered myself self-employed because I did what I wanted to do without listening to them. Hence, that's why I got fired and had to have my own businesses. But if you're one of those people that can't work for anybody else, this hour we're going to talk about why you need to make the move, or if you've always had a better idea, or you want to control your destiny or your future. That's what's so important about what we're about to get into.
Well, if you really look at it, we had ugly jobs numbers again last month. 142,000 jobs were created. And, in previous years, all the government said is we have to create 250,000 jobs a month to stay even with kids graduating from college and transition workforce, whatever. But the fact of the matter is we're not creating that many jobs. And if you look at the worker participation rate at 61.3%, it means that 91 million Americans are either not working or working part-time. Now, on the other side of that, there's a lot of people that, because of when we were in the depression of 2008 and 2009, they took jobs that, where they were making 75 or 100,000 a year. They took a job at $30,000 or $40,000 a year, working retail or working security or working something. And, when you look at your life and where you are, many people say, what I'm doing now is not going to get me to where I want to be in life or retirement. I'm not going to be able to save what I want. And so really the way to do it, as you know, Sab, is to look at owning your own business. Now, that's daunting. That's fear producing. That's a lot of different things. But today it's easier than ever. Perfect example is I had a client that came to me a few weeks ago. Actually, David on the show recommended him to me. Mm-hmm. He's in training this week out in Salt Lake City. A perfect opportunity for him. But he moved here from Baltimore thinking it'd be easy to get a job. Well, he was 58 years old. Well, the fact of the matter was he hasn't worked in 2 years.
Oh, good.
And the only money he had left was 6 months worth of money to pay his bills. After that, he was out of money with no retirement. Now, if you can't get a job, one, what else are you going to do with your life? Two, if you are not making very much money and the job you have now is not going to get you to where you want to be in life, what are your options? The main thing that I always say to my clients, Sab, is you owe it to yourself to at least learn what's out there. Meaning, meet with me. I understand all your criteria and I give you a bunch of ideas of what's out there if you ever decide to make a change in your life and want to do something on your own. Well, there's no cost, risk, or obligation. Just learn more.
It's a no-brainer. Even due to the fact that one has to say job creation. I mean, since when is government put in a position to create jobs or politicians? And in that, it's not really scary. What's scary is the idea that someone else controls your destiny. How can one live with that, knowing that someone is above you controlling your destiny? And if you have money in the bank and you're whittling away at that, as opposed to making points on it or leaving it alone and using someone else's money, where is the lose-lose? It's a win-win. There's no reason anyone should be afraid of this, especially since your service, and I know Bruce personally, we're friends, doesn't cost anything. And on your signature, you can get up to $150,000 with no collateral. This is what blows my mind. And this is what I have trouble wrapping my arms around, is that if you have a fairly decent credit score, not the best, with your signature, up to $150,000 is going to be put into a bank account so you can not only start a business, many of them under $100,000, and pay yourself for at least the next year with really no risk.
Right. Yeah, it's the government's money. It's called a Small Business Administration loan.
Well, no, it's your money. You paid into it your whole life as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
You paid into it your whole life as working for someone. They took that out of your paycheck. Let me explain. When Social Security is taken from your paycheck, it's not a Social Security fund. There is not a lockbox. That is another income tax. So one has to believe that if you paid in your entire life, that is now your money you're getting back. And it's owed to you and you deserve it because it was taken based on fraud and deception. There is no Social Security fund or lockbox. FICA is another income tax that you may or may not get back when you're 65. Certainly, probably not as much as you paid into it if you put that in a private institution and got interest. So there's no reason to feel guilty to say, well, I can't take this money because you paid for it your entire life. You put into it.
Well, you know, if you go back to the earlier statement, you're correct. The government has never created jobs except in the military and the IRS and so forth. Now, on the other hand, one thing our government has done is they formed the Small Business Administration because they realize that 90% of jobs are being created by small businesses. So when they overfunded the SBA by $30 billion, it used to be very difficult to get an SBA loan. You had to put up you had to put down 25% in cash. You had to pledge assets like in your home equity or something like that. Well, to create jobs in March of last year, they changed that SBA loan so you can get up to $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral, no money down, a 10-year amortization, and there's no prepayment penalties. So what the government is really doing is helping people in the business for themselves so the jobs can be created in small businesses in America. And that's why more and more people today are looking at doing something on their own, because there's too many people out there that either are unemployed, underemployed, hate what they're doing every day. They see that what they're making is not going to get them to their life's goals. And, you know, if you really think about it, when you get in your late 40s, early 50s, and you see that what you and your wife are making is not going to get you to where you want to be in life or retirement savings, kids through college, whatever it happens to be, you have to think about having a plan B. And plan B is going to business for yourself. And most people discount the fact that you get great tax advantages by being in business for yourself. And at the same time, you get equity. And the equity build's a big issue today that most people discount.
A CPA on David Tulis' show, one of our clients, EJ Pelton, confirmed that everything you spend, all the money you spend in due course of business for your business is tax deductible. Think about that. That just about everything you do throughout the day will be tax deductible to legally lower your tax liability. Tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion is illegal. And people don't realize as employees that you're paying far, far, far much more in taxes than the average business owner because they can deduct almost everything. So right there, just by quitting your job and becoming an entrepreneur, you just made 30%.
Well, if you really think about that, is today, what most people are doing is taking after-tax dollars and paying their car payment, paying their car insurance, their gas, their upkeep, their cell phone, their health insurance, a lot of things. Whereas a business owner, you deduct all those things from your gross.
Or the business pays for it.
Right. Well, number one, the business pays for it.
So at the end of the year, there is no tax liability or obligation because there's no profit or gain.
Exactly right. So
Wait a second. Is that legal? You mean that I have told these people over the years I've met business people. I'm in a business meeting and helping business people. I'm like, well, why are you paying for that? Well, what do you mean? You're using the car on company time. Why isn't the company making your car payment? Well, I never thought of that. Think about it. Let your company pay for everything in relationship to your business. You go to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
That's on your business.
Many times vacations.
If you pay for it, like you said, that's after tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You're being taxed twice by you paying for it.
Absolutely. And
is that legal?
Well,
I can do that.
The other thing is if you make $100,000, you're going to pay $30,000 to $35,000 in taxes, depending on your deductions. On the other hand, if you take $30,000 or $35,000 in deductions, and then as a small business owner, you're allowed to put up to $57,000 a year into an IRA as a small business owner, called a mini K or KEO, whatever. Your tax liability can get down to $2,000 or $3,000 legally. So if you look at the fact that you can save literally $30,000 a year in taxes between personal and business, that's a huge number that's going to go into your pocket.
The system is set up for employers to have employees as a master-servant relationship. That's the definition. And if you want to continue being a servant, then continue being an employee and have someone else control your life.
Well, the corollary to that.
Bruce, you were talking about 40s or 50s. I started my first official business. I bought my first radio station when I was 35 years old. Mm-hmm. 35 years old. So there's no reason you in your 30s or your 20s cannot do that. I know you wasted maybe $200,000 on college. You know, and you have this looking in your face, and you have a bachelor's or an associate's, even a master's, and you can't get a job. You're like, why can't I get a job? Because getting that degree doesn't make you valuable. What makes you valuable is providing a service. What makes you valuable is helping someone succeed. And that's what we business people do. This whole radio station is about Nooganomics, about local economy, about convincing you that you can take control of your life. You don't need to vote for a politician. You don't need to vote for a group organization. You don't need to work for someone and collectively have an idea. You can do it. But the great thing about the franchise is it's already been done. It works. When somebody decides that they want to franchise what they've done, they have a proven model. They have proven. Let's take McDonald's for an example. And I happen to love McDonald's marketing, and I love the way McDonald's sets up their entire system of promoting themselves. They're geniuses in it. I would say Walmart's number 2.
Right.
It is a successful, proven model. Then they say, you know what? Let me give you a chance to do what I've done, Bruce, but you have to use my food. You have to use my logo. You have to use this. But kick me back a little bit of money for helping you out. This is almost like a finder's fee or a consulting fee. Bruce takes that one step further and says, we don't want to go into the food business because you may have 3%. You're going to 97% of what comes in is not going in your pocket. If you're lucky, maybe 3. So let's go into a business that's not very cash intensive, whether you don't have to worry about spoilage, but something that's maybe more service oriented, or if it's not, it's going to make money for you from the get-go.
Yeah. Not only that, of course, I don't like food and I don't like retail. So I like service businesses that have little or no overhead and a strong reason to be against any and all competition. But I really like a franchisor that has national accounts and search engine optimization, so that when you go into business for yourself, that the franchisor is getting you the majority of your business. But there's another key factor that I feel very strongly about is your first business you go into should be a simple business, not a lot of working parts, not a lot of overhead. Because, yeah, there's a learning curve, and the franchisor is going to train you and give you ongoing training and support and show you how to deliver the product and service, but it still should be a simple business. And that's something that most people get really scared about. If you look at fear is the acronym for false evidence appearing real. So people their number one fear is, well, I hear these ugly numbers that 82% of businesses fail in 3 years. That's true if you start a business for yourself from scratch. That's true. In franchising in the service sector, there's a 96.2% success rate. Now, if you don't have overhead, you're keeping 95 cents out of every dollar. So if you look at a simple business without overhead, where the franchisor gets you the majority of your business, then that's a whole new dynamic. The second big fear is what? Money. people are scared. Well, I can't get the money to pay a franchise fee and a little bit of startup. And that's really nothing. That can be $30,000, $40,000. But if your fixed expenses, call it $4,000 a month, you got to pay your bills. So you kind of build that into the SBA loan. So let's say that you want 6 months at $4,000 a month. That's $24,000 plus the $40,000 that is going to cost you to pay your franchise fee and startup. It's $64,000. Now, you're in business and paying yourself for 6 months, but you've got $150,000 in your business checking account from the SBA. That means you've got $86,000 sitting there as a safety net. Now, the other fear is, I don't know anything about being in business for myself. Well, one, you have the proven franchise model. Two, you have a team on your side. It's the CPA, it's your lawyer, it's me, it's a lot of things. And there's also something that we have put together to help people that are just afraid of going into business for themselves have. And what is called is FAST. And what it stands for is Franchise Accelerated Success Training. And this is a program that we work with Michael Gerber on and spent years developing this criteria specifically for people who were scared about going into business for themselves because they don't have the experience, the skills, the strengths. They don't know how to read a financial, a balance sheet, do cash flows, whatever it is. And this is free, again, because the franchisor pays for it, just like I get paid the same way. But this is 40 hours worth of online training that you do in conjunction with the franchisor's training that teaches you about financial, money, management, marketing, client fulfillment, lead conversion, lead generation, all these critical ingredients of things you didn't learn in college or learn at your current job. And so basically, if you look at every fear or concern that someone has about going into business for themselves, we understand that. So we put together programs in place so that people will have the tools they need to go into business for themselves and avoid that fear.
You have to want to do it. It's like with any job. If you make the first move, someone will be there to guide you. People love to help.
Right.
They love to share their success stories. There's nothing to be scared about. There's absolutely nothing to fear.
Well,
all you need to have, I have financial sheets, I got taxes, I got lawyers. Don't even think about that. You just have to want to do it and take baby steps and want to learn. See, to me, there's no excuse for not learning or wanting to learn or getting the information. You can find almost anything you want to learn about on YouTube and research it. The internet is here, something we didn't grow up with.
Right.
The most amazing source, best invention of all time, I would say, this is the internet. Because at your fingertips, you've got the information of the world right here. So with that, there's no reason to fear. Fear comes from the unknown.
Correct.
So you have the known by researching. And then on top of that, the support of the entrepreneur source and everything else backing you up. But you have to want to do it. You have to want to take the first step. People say to me, well, why didn't you background check him before you hired him? It's because I always fire him. I don't take a long time to make decisions. And I think most entrepreneurs don't. If I think it's right, I move forward. Boom. Moving forward. Want to improve it. Moving forward. If I made a mistake, I change. So if you have that attitude and say, you know what? Damn it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take that chance right now. I'm going to do it, which is even a chance. And then you look at what's the worst that can happen? Well, there's no collateral, so you're not going to lose any money. The only thing you could possibly lose is your time. And you won't even lose your time because you just gain knowledge.
Well, let's talk about that a minute, because let's get into a worst case scenario. Let's say that you go into business for yourself, into a franchise with my help. There's two worst case scenarios. One is 6 months, a year, 2 years. If you're not making any money, you don't like it, you go back and take a job. One. Two, what most people don't realize, that if you go open Sab's body shop and it doesn't do well, you're going to close the doors.
By the way, Sab's body shop is a spray tan shop.
I hear you.
Because I don't know anything about cars.
Right.
Just in case
you know about management, so you don't have to know. But the worst case in a franchise, since there's a protected exclusive territory, you can sell it and at least get your franchise fee back and much of your expenses, and sometimes the goodwill you can already get.
So maybe you can make money.
I'll give you a perfect example.
Okay.
I had a client, 6 months in business, had already got 40 accounts, and he got offered a phenomenal job at a local company here as a director, big income. He said, Bruce, I need to take this job because it's a huge amount of money and career path. So I said, fine. He sold his business not only for his franchise fee and some of his initial marketing, but he sold it for another $40,000 for the goodwill,
Wow.
which is his customer base.
Wow.
So, he paid $40,000 to get in the business. He sold it for $95,000 after 6 months. Now, what you're really doing, though, in corporate America is you are building equity for the owner of that company. And he or she can let you go at any time for any reason. There's no loyalty. You're a free agent.
But you and I have seen that.
Yeah.
One of the reasons at 35, I put my own station on the air is because I made people wealthy.
Yeah.
And you did too.
Absolutely.
As an employee, you were making people wealthy. I was making people wealthy. And I'm like, no. I'm tired of this because there were no rewards there. Oh, good job. Thanks. Well, how about a little extra in the paycheck? Well, no, you were just doing your job, but we really do appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Right. Exactly. And, what most people don't realize is our world has changed. Wall Street put out some numbers a couple of weeks ago saying that you will have 17.4 jobs in your lifetime. And when you're over 40, you're going to lose your job every 2.2 years and be out of work for a year.
And can we make this clear,
That's an ugly number.
America is not going back to being a manufacturing country.
No.
Don't ever think that's going to happen. There are too many unions. We cannot afford to be paying people $30 or $40 an hour to be standing around picking their nose like they did at GM.
$80 an hour GM.
Yeah. Outsourcing to China and other third world countries actually helps them because if they get $1 a day, that's $1 more than they had and they were starving. So it's not a bad thing. We're a service-oriented country now, and we're going to service the world. The question is, do you want to become part of that service-oriented industry and start as a franchisor?
Well, yeah. And if you look at it, we went from an agricultural society to a manufacturing society, and now we've evolved into a service. We're basically service because goods are being made overseas in other countries, and so we're selling them and distributing them in retail and a lot of different things. But also, what most people don't think about is how technology is impacting jobs. The biggest reason that people are losing their jobs today, for the most part, is technology. Secondly, corporate profits, because a publicly traded company has to let people go to be able to make their numbers. Because if you look at Wall Street, corporate America today, what's really happening is if you look at the Fortune 500 companies, their sales are not going up, but their profits are exceeding their projections. Why? Because they're cutting costs. And so they're going to take somebody that's 50 years old making $100,000 a year and replace them with a 35-year-old making $35,000 a year.
You know what? These thugs were doing this years ago when I ran stations and was general manager or sales manager, or whatever. Corporate would come and say, can your salesman that's doing the worst? I mean, they may be a great guy or great girl and they're doing well, but what they'll do is, and I wouldn't do it, so that's why I don't work well in the corporate world, is that Bruce works for Corporation X for 9 months. Bruce builds up a sales list, and other radio stations that are listening know what I'm talking about. And they listen because they steal our ideas, because we're that good. So, and I really should ask for a consulting fee.
You should.
Do you think I can do that for the other radio stations that are listening?
I don't think they'll do it. But
you don't think they'll do it? Okay. But what they'll do is they'll take their list, their sales list, and then keep half of it and hire someone and give them half of that list. Mm-hmm. And then the next person gets fired after 6 or 9 months. And that's how stations build their profit. And then they demand another 10 or 15 or 20% over and above that. It's a never ending cycle. Instead of getting into something that you have one life, do what you dreamt to do in your life.
The interesting you say that. The number that just came out is 91% of all people working in corporate America do not enjoy what they're doing every day. That's a stunning number.
Why would you go? Bruce, I can never understand this. As a kid, I'm watching, in Philadelphia, watching the line of traffic that was stopped every day. We're going back 40, almost 50 years. Yeah. Back then, people hating their jobs. I can't wait for the weekend. You know what I say? I can't wait for the weekday.
Yeah.
I never liked holidays because the businesses weren't open. I couldn't work. I can't wait for the weekday. I can't wait to go into the radio station. I can't wait to put a liner on or more music or whatever. That's what you should have in your system. They're not waiting for Friday and Saturday or Sunday saying when it's Saturday or Sunday, oh man, I can't wait till Monday.
Yeah, I feel that way. Absolutely feel that way.
That doesn't mean you don't have a break once in a while, but you have to be excited about what you do every day.
What I say to all my clients is whatever I show you, it's something you have to enjoy doing every day. Now, is it going to be out of your comfort zone? Yes. Will it use your transferable skills and strengths? Yes. But the whole point is you have to do something you enjoy doing every day. And to figure it out yourself is about impossible. And you know, the other thing that's happening today, Sab, is the women and minority small business owners is drastically increasing, because a lot of women have now, the kids have are in school, or they're empty nesters, and they want to do something to stay busy, make some incremental income, help the household, you know, save for retirement. A lot of it's just staying busy and having a sense of self-worth. So not only is there a lot of women and minorities, but the other thing is, just this week, I had a gentleman who's 24 years old and another that's 28 years old. He saw one of them's working in a machine shop, you know, putting screws in the same place all day long, bored out of his skull. Yeah, exactly. And his family is all entrepreneurs. Their whole life they've had their own businesses.
Do you think he thinks he's screwed? Or what?
And he says, I'm not going to do this the rest of my life. All right.
Yeah, yes. He doesn't.
And when he heard about this SBA program, both of them heard about this SBA financing program. They called me up.
Whoa.
And they're both, they have good credit.
In their 20s.
There
you go.
24 and 28.
When people go, well, how can you do it in your 20s? Do you see these guys flying F-22s, F-15s, and F-16s? They're 21 years old. Repairing them. The men that won World War II were 18 to 21 years old. Can you imagine that? Yeah. So the idea that I'm 20, I can't do that. I'm 24. Come on. I remember one time my daughter, I think she was 2 years old, I gave her a fork to eat with. And my goofy neighbor from New York was like, what are you doing? She can't eat with a fork. I swear, she's going to poke herself in the eye when she's mentally challenged. She's going to put it in her mouth, you nut. Well, no, you can't do that. I got it from my Italian mom. Well, you can't do that. You got to work for the state. You got to work for the city. You have to put corporate job. I remember I was working for a big company making a lot of money, and I quit to put on a station in the middle of nowhere and risk everything. And it was the best time I had in my life. It's only money. Well, you'll make it again. You know, we've been talking about this, and they're going, wow, where can I call and get all this money? Where can I be consulted by Bruce Krebs for free? Because Bruce doesn't take any money from you. He gets it once you decide that you want a particular business, and then you go into it, and they go, Bruce, that was a great job for helping him out, for helping us out, and here's your remuneration for doing that, and you stick with him. But now they're saying, how can I get a hold of Bruce? Because I'm excited about learning more about the Entrepreneur Source.
My number is 423-875-5621. And my website is B as in Bruce, Krebs, Krebs, at esourcecoach.com.
That's way too long.
I know.
We have to shorten that.
I know. Just call me.
We have to do like Krebs. Can we do Krebs.com?
I would love that.
Can I come up with a .com for you?
No, you can't.
I'm pretty good with that.
Because this is a franchise. I have to use the franchisors.
Oh, that's right.
I bought an Entrepreneur Source franchise 30 years ago.
Sorry about that. I forgot about that. I know. Okay. All right. Well, can I talk to them?
Exactly. No.
But your phone number again, because, there are people listening in their little cubicle. 85% of all people during the day listen to radio on their computer or their smartphone.
Right.
And we're at hotnewstalkradio.com. When you go there, boom, we appear. And we don't have a fancy web page because, you know what? We're not TV. I mean, we are. If you go to YouTube, you can watch us now live all over the world. Biggest audience in Beijing. I just said, hi, how you doing? Okay, that was in Mandarin.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering.
I didn't. Yeah. But my number is 423-875-5621. And
say that number again.
423-875-5621.
875-5621. Now, just let me tell you, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is important. If you're driving, when you get home, go to YouTube and then search Hot News Talk Radio. You can watch this entire show over and over and over again, and go to the part where you can get Bruce's number if you don't have a pen to write it down. But I'd recommend if you're driving, text it. and write it down while you're driving.
No, that's my office number. They
give me the other number.
They want to text me. My cell phone number is 423-580-1001.
Right. Now text that while you're driving. I always recommend texting and driving.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, I do. So,
but yeah,
there's something anything.
There's something else we haven't talked about.
What's that, Bruce?
And that is, you and I had a little bit of a discussion about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Some people say, no way, I want to keep my job. That's my security blanket, like Linus. Okay.
Right.
And there is some opportunities you can go into and keep your job. Some people have 10, 15 hours a week if they're selling or they're working part-time. There's things you can do part-time and go into business. There's also one thing you and I specifically talked about where you can go into keep your job and you or your wife can do it for 5 hours a week and make great money.
Yes.
Now, is there many of those things? Absolutely not. This is definitely not a situation where it's too good to be true, but there is a couple things and only a couple things that people need to look at because they're the best of the best. And they're great ideas to at least learn about if you want to keep your job and do something part-time.
Okay. I'm from Saudi Days, Tennessee.
Careful.
What? I love it.
Not all Southern here.
I lived in I lived in Saudi Daisy, and predominantly, I exaggerate, but they're like Chuck, my friend, at the detailing place, and he's Italian. He's a Southern Italian. Most funny thing. So Chuck, he doesn't say Saudi Daisy. He's Saudi Daisy, Tennessee.
Right.
So I'm picturing Chuck in that detail shop that gets a few cars a day, and lives in Saudi Daisy, Tennessee. And Chuck wants to start a franchise to make some real money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Chuck. I call you. Here we go. Answer the phone. Answer it. Got to say hello. All right. Hi, this is Chuck from Saudi Days, Tennessee. That Yankee Confederate Mike, you call him Sab or Slab or whatever his name is. I pretend to like him, but he's one of those damn Yankees that won't go back. He talked about starting a franchise. What do I need to do, Mr. Krebs?
Well, what we need to do is set a time for you to come into my office and talk.
They're going to hate me more.
I have to understand hundreds of criteria about you. Mainly, what are you good at? What do you enjoy doing every day? What are all the things that interest you? Lifestyle you want, money you want to make. Most of it is what you enjoy doing every day and what are your transferable skills and strengths. I then can come up with a series of ideas that fit not only your criteria, but the economy, the competition, etc. And after I show them to you, I'm going to help you through the process of learning about them, doing the due diligence to see if indeed any of them are right for you or not. But once I help you find the right opportunity, I will help you find the best way to finance it, including paying yourself through the startup and all the other things you need to do until the day you get into business, getting with a CPA, getting with an attorney, setting up your corporate entity, and so everything you need to do, I can help you with. And it's not a decision-making process.
How much is this going to cost me?
Absolutely nothing, because I get compensated by the franchisor. But we guarantee you in writing, what I receive, you never pay in any way for any reason.
Wow. Now a Philadelphian comes in and goes, oh, yeah, Bruce, I was hearing also on the radio and this guy talking about, helping with the franchise. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay. You see what I mean? Well, I want to know, like all my life I did detailing and I'm a good worker and I can do I can fix motors and stuff like that. I work like 18 hours a day, but I ain't getting compensated. So I get good credit. So what do you recommend?
You can decide if you want to work in your business or you want to work on the business. In other words, if you're going to work in it, you're going to detail cars. But if you ever want to work on the business, then you're going to do the estimates and the quality control and the scheduling, and you're going to pay people to do the detailing of the cars. So you'll have 2 or 3 or 5 people working for you, then pay them $15 an hour or whatever. But you're going to be making money for every hour they're working instead of paying yourself $15 an hour.
Okay,
so you're going to decide whether to work in the business or on the business. Neither one of them is wrong. It's what you prefer.
I want to do both. I want to work in it. I want to work on it.
That can be done.
Okay, fiddle dee, fiddle dum. Now, where do I go from here? I like what you're saying. I'm going to do detailing. What do we do now?
Well, we need to meet because you don't want to.
We met. We're talking in person now.
Oh, well, I'm going to ask you, as I said, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions.
Okay.
I'm going to have you fill out different assessments, meaning I have to find out what interests you.
How long is this going to take me? Because I'm busy.
It's going to take you 3 months.
No, I mean today.
The first meeting, an hour.
That's it.
Second meeting, an hour and a half.
Okay.
Then it's going to take you 3 months because you want to find the right business, but you don't want to make a mistake. So you have to go through all the due diligence and all the discussions and meetings and visits and whatever to really see if there's an opportunity that's right for you out there. So if you really think about it, it's a long dating process. You got to have a lot of dates before you decide to get married.
Do I got to use protection?
Absolutely.
Because I got Guido over here.
That's
right. My
That's
protection.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
No, but but so really an hour the first time, which is, I'm sure it goes longer than that because they probably have a zillion questions on their part.
Sometimes.
Hour and a half. And then you send them to do some research themselves as to whether or not they really want to do this. I've decided 3 months down the line, I love this idea. This looks like a great franchise. What do I do now?
Well, first thing we do is we can actually, before that, get you pre-qualified, talk to the lending institution, the SBA, get you pre-qualified and start that process. Then you're going to meet with an attorney to get your corporation set up, get your federal taxpayer ID number, have them review your agreement, and simultaneously you're going to meet with a CPA.
Well, who's going to pay for that?
You're going to pay for that.
That cost me a lot of money?
No, it's not a lot of money. Actually, it's pretty inexpensive. There's some great franchise attorneys that are very inexpensive. I mean, literally, to set up your corporate entity, get your EIN number, all your city and state licenses, and review your agreement, it's $1,000 or so. But it's a business expense. It's deductible.
It's not only that, don't get scared by this because getting those numbers are easy.
Right.
Matter of fact, when you set your
you can go online and do it yourself, or have a lawyer do it.
Or when you set your bank account up, they'll do it for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Tennessee National, you go there and say, or Tennessee Federal, they'll help you set that up.
Well, the whole point.
Don't tell them I said that, but they will. I know
there's a lot of steps that you have to do from the time you decide what you want to do, and the problem is people are scared because they've never done that before. And
it's easy.
You don't know, but you don't know this. There's a list that's 25 things long that I help you do.
Right.
But it's scary because you've never done it before. But I will be there with you through each of those steps to make sure it's done correctly.
And let's let us say that somebody like EJ Pelton, our accountant here that sponsors the David Tulis show, that's a CPA that you could potentially use. Or if you're not good with paperwork, there's other people out there for pennies on the dollar that'll help you. You don't have to. I am the worst person with paperwork. If it wasn't for QuickBooks, I'd be done. That QuickBooks saved my rear end. It's so easy. Input, output, put the numbers in, the numbers out, getting the tax ID and all the other stuff. It takes a day, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason why you want a corporation is, and you could be president, vice president, secretary, treasurer in some states. You can actually have a Delaware corporation and do that.
Yes, you can.
That protects you from liability. There's limited liability for debt. There's a lot of corporate privileges.
Let's understand what that really means. Most people are scared of the fact that, I go into business for myself and something happens. One of my employees gets in an automobile accident or someone walks in my door and slips, that you can be personally sued and lose everything you have. What that S corporation or LLC really does is protects you so no one can sue you for any reason unless there's fraud. So somebody can sue your company, and you do have insurance, of course, that will cover any issues. But your corporate organization is going to protect you from being sued personally. So that's a big issue that most people don't realize, is that when you're in business for yourself, you're going to set up that corporation, an S corp or a C corp or an LLC, and that's going to give you personal protection of your assets, let alone the tax advantages and tax deductions, both business and personally. So again, that gets back to this FEAR acronym. So basically, these are all things that I help my client understand, because most people have not done this before. They don't understand it. And I go back to my favorite saying, Sab, is you have to learn more to earn more. And it is so true that you have to really go through this process, learn what's out there. And let's again talk about the worst case scenario.
Okay.
If you come to me and you go through this process, I'm going to work with you until we find you the right opportunity. Then and only then do you have a decision to make. Do I want to do this now, in 6 months, a year, or never? But if it's never, you're going to sleep better at nights, because you're never going to worry about waking up in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat, Like, what if I get downsized? What if the company is merged? What if the company goes out of business? What am I going to do the rest of my life? You'll have peace of mind. And that's what I say to all my clients is you will have peace of mind, which is a big factor in today's uncertain economy.
Bruce Krebs, owner of the Entrepreneur Source. This is the Entrepreneur Hour. We're discussing how to take control of your life. It's such an important step because this radio station is all about localism, entrepreneurism, getting away from big corporatism. We're talking about corporations. We're talking about the big multinational corporations or publicly held corporations, not little ones where I don't know that a lot of people realize one person can be a stockholder in a corporation. Can't own it, but you could be the controlling interest in that corporation. Correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, when you go into business for yourself, when you set up your S Corp, there's going to be shares of stock issued. And that shares of stock is going to give you 100% ownership, or maybe your wife owns 49%, you own 51%, but you're going to have stock in your own company, basically, right, as a corporate entity. So those are things that are important, that you're going to own the company and own the stock. And as the value of that stock, the value of your business increases,
hello,
what's going to happen?
Who's this?
This is Delaware Yacht Registry.
And who am I talking to?
This is Doreen.
Doreen, hi, it's Sab. You're on the air live, so don't say anything dirty, okay?
Okay.
I just want to tell people how easy it is to start a corporation, because I've had corps with you, you know that. So how easy is it? Let's say I wanted to start a corporation right now. What's the process?
You would go to our website and you can establish a company. There's applications on our website. There's two different companies. One's a general corporation. The other one's a limited liability. Either one that you want to establish is $325. There are 2 annual fees that have to be paid every year in order to keep the company in good standing. And the first one is our registered agent fee, which is $125. And the second fee depends on what company you select. Either company that you select, you have to pay a tax to the state of Delaware. For a general corporation, it's $225 a year, and there is an annual franchise tax report that has to be completed with the state of Delaware. And the second would be for the LLC, and that's referred to as the LLC tax, and that's $300 a year.
Right. So if I decided I wanted to start a corporation now and the name was available, how long would it take for me to incorporate? When would I get my...
So if we received the application before 4:15 East Coast time, we could file it with the state today. It would be an entity today. We probably would not receive the filed document from the state for probably about 2 to 3 business days. They just did a new conversion, a computer conversion, and so they're a little bit slower than they used to be because they're still trying to work out some of the kinks in the system. But it would definitely be an entity today. If we filed it with the state today, it would be an entity today.
Great. Thank you, Dor. I appreciate it, Dor.
Thank you.
Have a good day, all right?
All right.
Bye,
You
honey.
too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See how easy that is?
Yeah. Exactly.
You can actually you can start your corporation today. And you can order a corporate book that gives you
Articles
your seal,
of
articles of incorporation, and everything
Right.
else. Corporate kit, it's called. And that doesn't cost much.
Right.
So don't be afraid of that. You see how easy that was?
Yeah, it's easy.
I just made a phone call.
You can go on a website, the state website, and do the same thing.
Yeah. But do you recommend Delaware corporations or Tennessee corporations?
It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
All right.
I mean, you have the same tax advantages. You have the same legal protection. There really isn't any reason to be. Now, the only thing with Tennessee, you will pay an excise tax on your profits every year for business you do in Tennessee. So if you live in Georgia and you don't have that same situation, or you can go set up a Delaware or Nevada corporation. You don't have that excise tax of 6.5%.
Okay. So we just showed you one little step, and this is way down the line.
Way down the line.
Do it. But look, I'm a dopey disc jockey, and I did it in what, 10 seconds? And all you tell him is, Nora, I want to be, Joe Blows Suntan Spray Center Incorporated. She looks and goes, oh, that's available.
Right. Yeah, they can look online, see that your name's available.
You pay online, you're done. Now you're incorporated. Then you go to the bank. This is what's important. You go to the bank and say, I want to open up a bank account in my corporate name.
Right.
And then you have a corporate account now, and people write checks to that corporation. Correct?
Yep, correct.
Here's your corporation. Car payment comes out of the corporation if it's used for that business purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You're already starting to save money right out of the gate.
Well, it's so many things. As I said, it's your car payment, it's your car insurance, it's your health insurance, it's your gas, your repairs, your cell phone. And there's all kinds of expenses now that are tax deductible and a business expense. And very simply is you take your gross sales, take your deductions, and you're only going to pay taxes on the difference. But there's another thing you don't realize is your business will never make any money as a small business owner, because if you make $100,000 a year and you got $75,000 left after tax deductions, you're going to take a draw, and you're going to take that draw of $75,000 and you're going to put that in your personal bank account. You're going to pay taxes on the $75,000 once. You're going to pay no business taxes.
Right. We need to really make this clear, because people, and I've discussed this with Bruce, if it hasn't been 1,000, it hasn't been one. This is so important to understand that the corporation is set up not to make a profit. What? Yes, the tightly held corporations are set up not to make a profit, which means all the money that goes in goes out. And you as the individual stockholder, if there's a profit, gets it. But the corporation does not pay tax on that if it's not a C.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Most people think, well, I got to go to the bank and get a loan for a house or whatever. How is the bank going to know how much money I really made? Well, bankers know, because you get what's called a K1. And the K1 shows you what you really made, meaning that draw. And the other thing is, when a bank looks at your business financials, they're going to see all the after-tax dollars or pre-tax dollars, that was spent for the car payment, all the other things.
Right.
And they're going to look at your K1, and they're going to see that you made $100,000, not 60 or 70 or whatever it is. Banks understand this.
I made a mistake. I said not set up to make a profit. It is, but the profit goes to you as the sole stockholder. It's set up not to pay taxes.
Correct.
You pay the tax.
Right.
It's washed through you.
Right. Yeah. You save a lot of money in taxes is the bottom line. And none of us know all these things. So that's why you get a good CPA. Most of the CPA clients, most of my clients work with a CPA that's right above us right now. Ken Mallett, at Paget Business. Most of my clients work with him, and they sit down before they go into business, and he, for a free meeting, talks about exactly how to do everything and set everything up in QuickBooks and what deductions to take and legally take, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, again, you're not going into business for yourself. You're by yourself. You're really, there's a team of people between the franchisor and myself and attorneys and CPAs and a lot of people to give you advice and hold your hand through that startup. It isn't that all of a sudden Monday morning you're on your own, and that's scary. That's not the case at all, Sam. Yeah,
it takes time to get into the process. You can't go through life being 35, 40, 50, and then all of a sudden reverse your thinking overnight.
Correct.
It's a process, but the process is not costing you any money. It's costing you your time. And then once you're approved for the SBA loan, you get up to how much?
$150,000.
$150,000 on your signature with no collateral.
Right.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing. And you just have to have a decent credit score. If for anything, I would want to know, okay, am I eligible for the money? Just call Bruce. Find out if you're eligible to get $150,000 free dollars to start your own business. There's nothing
pre-qualified.
There's nothing to lose. What's your phone number, Bruce?
423-875-5621 for anybody that wants to just sit down and have a free assessment.
875-5621. And your website?
It's B Krebs, Krebs, at E as in the entrepreneur, esourcecoach.com/B as Krebs.
And actually Google Entrepreneur Source.
That's a better way.
Or Bruce Krebs.
Google Bruce Krebs.
And you'll find them on the station here at YouTube. We are actually broadcasting live on YouTube, and we're streaming live over the internet, and we're recording this show so you can watch it back when you get home. Guess who goes on the air live Monday?
Who?
Me!
Really?
Yeah, I'm back on the air.
Why? You bored?
Well, I figured the basket weaving was getting old, and then I'm dribbling.
Too much time. You got to stay mentally sharp at your age, right?
Well, yeah. And every other morning show just stinks.
Yeah.
I listen to the morning shows and say there's got to be something better. So it's going to be Eric and Mike in the morning. So starting 7 o'clock, this is the first we're announcing it, by the way.
You get up that early?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that?
No.
7 o'clock and it was 7 till 9.
Wow. I'll have to listen.
Yeah, Eric and Mike in the morning. And I'd like you to be one of my guests.
I'll do that.
Any morning, come by. You don't even have to say it in advance. Just walk in. We'll put you on the air. And we've got, you talk about putting out, I put a ton of money out on comedy writers. Oh, we've got, I was going to ask you about that before I did it. Spending all the money we're spending on these comedy writers and these producers. But I think it's going to take the market by storm.
Good idea. Drive time.
Yeah. This one I got from, I'll be honest with you, I got 2 from Pakistan. And they work for food.
You know, Halloween is traditionally a time of candy and sweets. But this year, I'm starting a new tradition by handing out donut coupons. Here you go.
What's this? A coupon? Yuck.
And it's not for one of those sugar-laden glazed donuts either. It's just a good old-fashioned plain cake donut.
Where's my candy?
Plus, donut coupons teach children an important life lesson about delayed gratification.
Mom, let's go. I want candy.
So this Halloween, save the candy. Instead, hand out donut coupons from your local shop mark.
Take that, mean old lady.
Donut coupons, available at all Shopmark supermarts. And ask about our new glass replacement service.
There you go. That's our comedy writers.
Good comedy.
Yeah. So you're going to have fun in the morning. You got to listen 7 to 9, starting Monday with Eric and Mike in the morning. We're going to have all sorts of wacky.
Well, I know who Eric is. Who's Mike?
Me.
Oh.
That's my middle name. That's what
I got you. Okay. All right.
My real name is Sab, but, I use that here. I'm dead meat.
Okay. I got you.
What's a Sab?
Won't do well in Saudi Daisy, will it?
No, they love me there. Bruce, it's been fun, man.
It has. Thank you.
I love every other week Bruce and I do this, and he's going to sneak in on our morning show one morning, 7 to 9, and we're going to set you up with a comedy bit. It's going to be like Saturday Night Live. You're going to be, the entrepreneur source, but we're going to set you up with a bit that you're part of.
I'm not going to do Donald Trump, that's for sure.
Wow, you're better looking than Trump. But, It is Wednesday, so it is my day.
Tonight's the debate.
Oh, what do you think?
Well, Trump's losing in Iowa for the first time.
But he's going to lose in Iowa. Carson is kind of milquetoast, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I like Carson.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Why?
Because I don't believe a doctor has the business background to lead our country. Number one, and I believe he's too passive. Okay. He's not a real eloquent speaker. He's not charismatic. He isn't. If you talk about past presidents that have been very charismatic to lead our country that we believe in, and whether we believe in them or not, that's been the type of president we've had. So I'm just not a Carson fan. I'm
gonna agree with you. I agree with him on social issues.
Exactly.
On business issues, running the largest economy in the world, you need a Trump.
Right.
You don't need a community organizer.
No.
You don't need to use car salesman or another Bush. Come on.
Man.
Bushes went out in the 70s, didn't they?
Happen.
Didn't they?
That's right. Big time.
I mean,
absolutely.
When Bushes went out in the 70s, we had more Bushes. The last Bush was a disaster. No more Bushes. We need a real entrepreneur.
Yep.
I don't like everything about Trump. Socially, I think he's moderate, but an entrepreneur is going to get this country's engine going again.
My only concern is I believe he will make the right decisions about ISIS and negotiations with Iran and all these other things. I'm a little concerned with him having the red button.
I'm not, because I wish he pushes the darn thing if he becomes president and pushes it on North Korea and maybe some of our other friends.
Exactly.
Hot News Talk Radio. Thank you, Bruce, so much. Have a great day.
In 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
WSDT Saudi Daisy, Chattanooga.